It's a button that opens the moon door.
Ah!
Well, hey everybody, and welcome to a special post-episode viewing of Game of Thrones Beyond the Wall reaction show. We're doing this tonight because A, we suspected some of the wonderful things that happened in tonight's episode was going to happen. B, we are traveling to Balticon this weekend, so and a lot of us are traveling Thursday, so didn't want Wednesday night to be a 3-hour fest on online. So we decided to do this tonight. I am joined, hopefully, by everybody in the next couple of minutes. Nutty isn't with us yet, but I think she will be joining us. We have Chooch and Viv and Christiana. How are you guys doing? Everybody's good, I think.
Yeah, doing good.
Good for me, too, that we are skipping the Wednesday show this week because it's also the season finale for Survivor on Wednesday.
The 2-hour season finale.
They usually do it on Sunday, and they didn't this year for reasons I don't know. But, so yes, I would miss that, and I'm literally going to have to record our Talking About Survivor finale Thursday morning before I leave for the airport, because that is literally the only time before the following week that we'll be able to do it.
Well, and then we also have what's even more important this week, which is Christiana's release of Space Casey.
Space Casey 2.
That's no big deal.
That's no big deal.
Don't start that.
Very big deal.
Well, I've at the very least I've got the episode that's coming out Tuesday. I've got that ready to go. So
awesome.
We kind of heard it already, and it kind of kicks ass. I might be biased, but it kicks ass.
Yes, we did. So, what was the name of the episode tonight? I forget.
The Mockingbird.
Mockingbird. Very good. And now we know why. A Peter-heavy episode, and probably for the first time ever, just loved every second of him on screen. Sometimes.
The funny thing is, it actually wasn't a Peter-heavy episode. I mean, obviously, it was a big, a big deal when it happened. But it took us until like the last 10 minutes of the episode before we even saw him.
Yeah, I guess it's probably.
It was. You're right. The last.
It was a humdinger, though.
Last 8 or 9 minutes was in the.
Lisa made an impact, you might say.
Yeah. Wonder if her head's down there, separated from her body.
Just looking at nothing.
Blue eyes, all looking good.
Chooch, do you think that you can replicate the face you made as Lisa, like when you realized that you threw her down the door? I swear to God, it was like the record skip. What? It was there was so much that went on in the episode that I felt so bad for him, because it was like, I mean, the hot pie the hot pie scene.
Oh, pot pie! And he had an actual pot pie.
And they had actual pot pie. And did you see the bread he made for Arya? The Stark, the wolf was so much better. And then because it was, I was kind of like when Podrick, going back in the scene a little bit, when they're talking and Podrick is saying, I don't think you should mention Sansa's name, it draws attention. And it was, honestly, I thought, yeah, that's really good fucking advice. That's good advice to give her. And then, but when she meets Hot Pie and he gives her the bread for Arya, and then it's like, now who said what? It was cute, but it was still good advice that Pod gave her.
Well, it is and it isn't. I think they have to be discerning, but the problem is, if they're looking for the Stark girls, they have to follow up rumors, right? I mean, they can't just not tell anybody. How would they find anyone that way?
It's just like this beautiful little moment where you have Hot Pie and you've got Brienne and Podrick, who are such good people, and they're the people that you want to discover. And I almost wish that they had said, hey, don't say a fucking word to anybody else. This is life-changing for her. We're going to go rescue her. Don't tell anybody else this story. If anybody asks, they're full of shit. Don't believe them. But it was just like they were the perfect two people to stroll in there, looking for Stark daughters and be told that one is probably that was thought dead is probably with the other one, and it's just it was so cool.
Yeah.
Very heartwarming.
And tying back to our conversation that we had last week or 2 weeks ago, the humor worked perfectly for me in all those scenes where I thought some things were forced with Brienne and Podrick.
Yeah.
I just liked all of it. I mean, there was nothing that. I have no complaints. I'm not grumpy. I might as well get.
I know you're smiling.
Of grumpy.
You should always do the reaction show because it doesn't give you time to come up with all your
grumpy.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Well, but I mean, in fairness, it was a really great episode in so many ways. I mean, it had one of the scenes that I feared the absolute most in seeing, and it was the scene where Oberyn tells Tyrion the story of the first time they meet. And I'm jumping all over the place because I didn't take notes. I was told I didn't have to. But when Oberyn visits Tyrion in the cell, and he tells the story of first meeting him, it was one that I knew that it was going to break my heart seeing Peter Dinklage react as Tyrion to that story, and it just God damn, he brought it.
The build up and I will be the champion.
Oh my God!
Sun behind him, like,
and I didn't think that they were going to be able to top the scene that Jaime and Tyrion had, because that was a pretty fucking amazing scene. It didn't even though Jaime doesn't have a right hand, it's like it never occurred to Tyrion that my brother will save me. It'll be fine. He's fighting left-handed now. It's cool. And then to find out, wait, what? You can't? Oh shit. Well, it'll still be funny to see Dad's face. So I'm sorry. I'm just all over the map.
No, it's fine. That's why that's this perfect vehicle for this type of discussion. So one of the things I was going to just start out with is the idea that people that have read the books, having problems with certain things that they do in the show. Hopefully, there isn't a lot of that this time, because everything that was pulled, from the books. Of course, there's different things in the show, in the episode, but the things they did pull, I thought that they were just even, lines that they may have changed or whatever. I just thought it was very well done. That scene was just incredible. That you were just saying, the Oberyn Tyrion scene, just all the way through was great.
And I called it.
Yes. Wait, what did you call?
Oberyn versus the Mountain.
You did. You called Oberyn versus the Mountain. You also called Bronn versus Jaime. Yeah.
Well, Oberyn versus the Mountain was one of the matchups you said you would like to see. And
oh gosh. Ooh, I was worried because I think it was the end of last season that they actually showed a clip of, or maybe it was a trailer leading up to this season that they showed the clip of Oberyn in the
fighting pit or whatever.
The ring, the battle ring or whatever, fighting this gigantic monster of a man, and I was like, total fucking spoiler, HBO, fuck you. But when when Oberyn made the offer, Chooch was surprised. It looked like. I mean, you hoped for it. Yeah. But did you expect it to take that? How did that scene hit you?
The moment he showed up in
Chooch
front
the
of
noob.
Tyrion, I knew. Yeah. Like, all right, it's on,
Yeah, there was this moment I looked over at him and he's like, oh, really? We're really at the circus, Ma? He was like all excited. It was so cute, and I was like, yeah, we're at the circus, babe. Yep. It was really, it's like seeing that hit him, it was really cool. Yeah. It was like remembering the first time I read it. It was like, wow, you get this story and you just, your heart is just like bleeding on the floor for Tyrion, and then Oberyn just sweeps in.
Well, especially after the conversation with Bronn, when I thought, okay, so he's out of the picture.
And that was a great scene as well.
That was such a fantastic scene. Perfectly executed, I think.
And we had talked about the possibility that Bronn had turned, just simply he'd been paid off to go another way. And I liked that this was more complex than that. The idea that, oh, sure, I took their money, that's fine, but that's not why.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I wish that this was something that I could do for you, but it's too much.
It's the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one guy that everybody. Well, I guess there's like 3 or 4 guys that people would really piss their pants to face, and he's probably number 1 on that list.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I like the new guy.
Yes. Yeah. Shit, he sold it. I mean, that scene, the intro scene where he's like, doing his little Ginsu knife demonstration.
I love your sound effect there.
Disco Mountain.
It was kind of a pew-pew, but swords.
Oh, no, I get it. I love it.
Okay.
Except for the fact that he looks 10 years younger than Rory McCann, but that's okay.
Wow.
Sanders had a rough go of it.
Yeah.
Damn.
You're not going to look the same, but I don't know if anybody can try to ping Nutty offline. I can't do that, but she's not showed up, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Her last message said, "Be there in a minute."
I see one that says, "Just a sec, internet keeps going down." Yeah.
Oh,
okay. If you are watching live, if you are on YouTube, you can go over to our Google Hangout page, and we've got a Q&A up there. I know there's at least 2 or 3 viewers in there that are, you love me? Thank you.
You weren't supposed to see that. That was a message to somebody else.
Well, I had you in focus. So
no, you did not. No, I thought I was little. I got you on there. God damn it.
Anyway.
That was for Jet, so fuck you, PG. That wasn't for you, that was for Jet.
Okay. Anyway, but there's Q&A app over on Google.
Sorry, listeners.
At least a couple of viewers out there right now, and we'll keep going here. I did Cersei's walk out into the
oh my god,
whatever, the slave pit or whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows what it was? And not that there's a slave pit in King's Landing, but just the idea that he's using these, I guess, criminals that he's got out there.
Let's hope they weren't just soldiers or guards.
Well, they were all in rags and looked like they'd probably been in dungeons or something for a while. So
his own special way of clearing out the dungeons.
Wow! And one big bloody squishy sweep.
Get some real training that way.
Oh my god.
Well, and just like the guy who goes mercy and he throws down the weapon and he's bending down and just no hesitation. It's like, fine, that's easy then. That's
bam.
That's the mercy I can give you. And then Sandor gives his own version of mercy to somebody. Who's been stabbed, and I think the most important cool thing in that scene was the idea that Arya did not, besides her repeating back his words from earlier episodes, the idea that she did not react in any way to the Hound stabbing the guy right in the heart. No moment of surprise or anything. It was just, that was what was happening.
Well, and I think she recognized in that case too that
it was
that was actually kind of a rare moment of compassion from the Hound.
Oh yeah.
Because really, he shared some of his water with the guy too before doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost the opposite of his attitude about the silver that they stole a while back, which is they're going to be dead anyway. They don't need silver.
Yeah.
For this, it could have been, well, I'm going to stab the guy in the heart in a second. Why does he need my water?
Yeah.
But no, he did, and so I think that's part of what made it different. Is she recognized that there was some actual empathy going on there from the Hound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's definitely used to being on the road and what to do to survive. She's not really surprised by anything anymore, which is important. And then, of course, they get attacked by Rorge, we learn from the book, anyway. And then he wasn't named, but you could pretty much tell that was Biter.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a little surprised. Given that we hadn't seen them for a while. To have them come back at all is a little surprising. But like just from the context of the books, they do more stuff than that in the books. So it's a little surprising to see them dispatched so quickly in the show. Not that I'm complaining, but just I was surprised both that that they did it the way they did, and also that like, okay, I guess those guys are gone now, so someone else will have to do what they were going to do later, or it'll be different in some other way. We'll see.
Yes, and great lines there with the Hound saying, "Oh, was this guy on your list?" And she's like, "No, didn't know his name." He's like, "What's your name?" "Rorge." Stab.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the other thing we have to remember too is that the criteria for getting on Arya's list is the bar is being lowered here. Technically, all this guy did was threaten her.
Yeah.
Like, it was a pretty awful threat, but he didn't actually do anything to her otherwise. So, awful person. I'm not saying totally unjustified, but. Yeah, so actually, Nobilis says, would you agree that Arya stepped over a border this time, the first time Needle has killed in her hand? It's not, though. She killed the guy who stole Needle.
She killed Polliver.
Yeah, Polliver. She killed the kid way back in season 1.
Stables, yeah.
She killed, and then I guess the Frey guy she killed was with the dagger, not with Needle. But she killed Polliver with Needle. Still, I would agree that in this case, she stepped over a border in that, like I was just saying, this guy hadn't actually done anything to her other than say mean things. So, like I said, she's kind of lowering the criteria required to be on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it just sounded badass.
Well, I think it was cool because that scene showed that, like, she learned from the Hound, like, okay, the heart's there, you do it, you're done, it's over real quick. That's where you do a quick kill. And so she demonstrated that she learned that, but he also had demonstrated that he had learned about her enough that he knew the names were important. So it was important to her that this guy died because of what he said. Well, not died. I mean, he really was just offensive. Right? Isn't that what you guys decided, was that he hadn't actually done anything to her but threaten her and been disgusting?
He and his buddy did just try to kill the Hound. So
yeah.
He attacked in that
but he was backing away, wouldn't you
and
say?
The Hound's on the
was
list
just like he'd gone like submissive at that point, though. It looked like he was going to run away if he could.
It was one thing when it was him and Biter together trying to take out the Hound from a sneak ambush. It's another thing, my buddy's already dead, and now it's just me against the Hound, and he's looking right at me.
Yeah.
That's kind of a different setup.
Yeah. But I felt like it was cool that he also showed, anyways, homage to Arya's need for the list and how much she focuses on it, because it's very clear that that's almost like a beacon of hope for her, being able to cross those names off that list.
Or, if not hope, then something. It's kind of like what he was saying the other episode about, hate's as good as anything to keep you going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And getting the rest or the other scene out of the way, we had the Scarred by Fire story. Which, hearing it from the Hound's perspective was a little different, and
the sort of a reminder just of how it felt to him that not only this horrible thing happened, but that it was his brother that did it, and then the father lied to protect the brother. And just making it made the story personal in a way that it hadn't been up to that point. Before, it was all just like, oh well, yeah, clearly Gregor Clegane is a scary guy and a mean thing to do to his brother, but we didn't have that emotional hook in it the way we do now.
Yeah.
And that delivery, I didn't steal it. I was just playing with it. That was really powerful.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, Chooch, but that I would be a little more open to the burning of that wound, because that looked pretty nasty.
Yeah, that was gnarly. Well, I was wondering why she didn't just heat up a sword and.
Or boiling wine is the other thing that, but I guess they don't have wine. But that's one of the standard Westeros treatments. But the other thing, just as far as it being a nasty bite, I mean, so notoriously human bites are kind of nasty anyway, just in terms of microbes and so on. But the other thing is just to consider is like we have a guy who goes by biter. Biting someone in the neck is his go-to attack. Probably not the best oral hygiene on this guy.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when she was just pouring water on it, it didn't quite do a whole lot. So it was like, oh, yuck. But hopefully sewing them up will be good. So how did anybody feel about events in Essos in Marine?
I thought there was some good stuff there, and I actually expected them to play the jealousy notes from Jorah a little harder than they did.
Yeah, I thought they.
But I thought it was
went a different direction there.
Just in terms of developing the relationships between Daenerys and Dario, and between Daenerys and Jorah. I really liked just the additional depth we got into both of those relationships this week, and just where are they now? Because obviously Jorah's been with Daenerys way since back at the beginning of season 1, but where are they now, given everything that's changed?
Yeah.
And I liked that, and I liked especially not only did she change her mind, but she also just made a point of telling him is like, you can tell other people you talked me into this, because that is what happened, and I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that as well, because it was like, it's for a couple episodes now. She's been purposely ignoring or just, deciding to do her own thing instead of taking advice, and then she actually thought through it, and maybe she's learning to be a queen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, she was able to please both men's egos.
Please both men.
Totally. I mean,
egos.
Totally. Well, I mean, she did sexually with obviously Dario. He was strutting around when he left in front of Jorah, and then when Jorah left, he was strutting, and she only had to bang one of them. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good.
He was only strutting like that because he had gotten his way to go to Yunkai to have a fight.
And because she said, you can say, as Christiana said, you get credit for this. You get to tell him that you changed my mind.
I was making a joke about Dario, that Dario was happy, not because of the sex, because he gets to go fight now. That was
it can be both, I think.
Both, really, totally. He gets to be a warrior, too.
Win-win-win.
The scene with Dario
Go kill.
fired a couple of cross circuits in my brain, because the actor who plays Dario is also playing a notable secondary character on Orphan Black this season. And this episode of Orphan Black, although it was a different character, had a very similar setup where we have a powerful sort of regal blonde order a man to strip for the purposes of using him sexually.
Typecast already.
So it was just some overlap there that definitely crossed my mind.
I didn't make the connection.
I didn't either.
Did you guys not realize that? So Kira's dad, Cal, in Orphan Black, is the same actor as playing Dario.
Wow. Okay. Holy crap.
Wow.
Mind blown.
You guys just had your minds blown.
Okay, but did you know that the actress from Orphan Black is in the beginning of the new Lonely Island digital short that was on Saturday Night Live last night? Did you know that? Bam, blew your mind. Only a second, but she's at the beginning of it. But the whole short, the digital short's fantastic, but she is at the beginning.
I'm sure if I knew what that was, my mind would be blown. I'm giving you credit there, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Andy Samberg was a cast member of Saturday Night Live, and he and two buddies of his formed the Lonely Island, and they're the ones that did all the digital shorts. I'm on a boat and all that stuff. No, wait, that was the
Dick in a Box.
Dick in a Box. Yeah, that's the better example. More people know that.
Mother Lover.
He left and did his own show, and he came back to host, and so they did another digital short last night, and they had her in it, and there was actually a Game of Thrones reference too. So it was pretty good.
Oh, you're bringing it all full circle.
Find it on YouTube, Lonely Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. We had
So
all the callbacks. So all the callbacks, hot pie.
My God, that was amazing.
Was awesome.
Chris, you want to talk about hot pie?
Well, okay, so as soon as
I could see you were excited.
Brienne and Pod were in the inn, I was like, is it? Is it? And then we see a hand just pouring wine, and we haven't heard a voice yet. It's like, oh my God, is it going to be? And then it was! It was hot pie! Oh. And then they're literally eating pot pies.
That's so
Hot
amazing.
pie.
And then, of course, like, his whole role was simultaneously total fan service and also actually moves the plot forward.
Yeah.
Because the fact that they were nice enough to not tell him, hey, go away, you're boring us with your talk about pie. The fact that even though they were kind of annoyed, they went ahead and they put up with it, showed him that they were nice, and that's the only reason that he reconsidered.
That's true.
About Arya.
That's a good point.
And then we also just got him, obsessing about pies and recipes and so on. Generally, we got to hear him say Winter Hell again, Rise of the Wolf Bread 2.0, and I mean, it was like everything.
It was
about that
awesome.
scene was like, oh, we remember Hot Pie. I'm so glad he's okay.
He's still alive, He's still alive. Yay, somebody's. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yes.
So, how did everybody feel about or Chooch, I'll ask you specifically, how did you feel about Sansa having the balls to slap Robin like that?
That was badass. That was baller. And then immediately just like, oh fuck.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
I was, Peter was exactly right. His mother should have done it a long time ago. Maybe not smack him, but.
Oh, sure. I think he deserved a smack here and there. I'm sure.
Boy needs to be straightened out.
Well, the only so this is not a complaint per se, as much as I wonder if when he first knocked over the tower accidentally.
Right.
I thought she overreacted.
Yeah.
Now we can certainly understand. This was a very emotional thing. She did not ask him to come and help.
Right. The book did a better job.
Well, but then also, he said, let's give your Winterfell a moon door, and she said, okay, and then he accidentally knocked it over, and then she just stands up, oh, you've ruined it. And I'm like, that was uncalled for. She overreacted. Yeah. Now, I can sympathize that she's got a lot of emotional complexity built up in this thing, and it's hard, but I think she overreacted. So honestly, I blame her for that argument. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
He's awful generally, but he was being pretty nice in this until she provoked it.
And she knows that he's a little kid that's being treated like he's an even younger kid. So she knows that she's supposed to treat him with kid gloves, which is where I think I understand why they made the difference. I think it moved it along faster, certainly, but the way they did it in the book, Chooch, was there was just this, like that magical moment when she came out and there was snow, and you're like, oh my God, she's got nostalgia for home. Yeah. And then the next scene, there's actually this pretty long stretch of pages where it describes her rebuilding each part of the whole castle grounds and every little detail, and she's working on it by herself, and then Peter comes out and he's helping her, and then is that the order?
He shows her how to do a tunnel.
Right, he shows her how to do a tunnel, and then Robin comes out and he just starts smashing it like Godzilla style. Oh, fun, smashy.
That's what I was expecting.
Right.
When he first showed up, I was like, wait, isn't it all burned down? Pew, 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 pew.
You called him up. Here comes Destructo. That was totally what you said as soon as they showed him on screen. Here comes Destructo, and I was really surprised that they played it out because Peter helped her fix this thing, and then Robin comes out and he's being a little shit and he stomps it, and then she starts crying and screaming, and there's so much wrapped up in it, and then he ends up having an epileptic seizure.
Yeah.
And then they haul him off to go milk of the poppy him or whatever they do, and
they seem to be not using that.
They don't seem to be doing that. They seem to be making him weak, and that he relies so much on his mother. You know, he's such a mama's, literally a
Well,
titty
how
baby.
could he not, though, the way she treats him? I mean,
yeah. It's ridiculous, yeah.
He is too young to have been able to resist himself away from that kind of mothering, I think.
That's true. Absolutely. I agree with that, for sure.
One thing, though, that this is, I think, just a point of interest about the book, and I really don't think it's a spoiler of any kind because it's really all about past stuff. But in the books, when we go all the way back to the House of Undying, we talked about how in the books, Dani had a series of visions when she was going through that sequence. And we saw some visions in the show, but they were different. Right. One of the things she saw in that sequence was a castle in the snow being trampled by a giant.
Wow.
And a lot of people think that this sequence was kind of that. And is that a big, you know, does that make this super meaningful, or was it... For all we know, when George wrote those original visions, he was just going with things that sounded cool, and then later it's like, oh crap, now I have to figure out what that was.
Yeah. And then, Viv, you're on mute if you're talking, but no one can hear you.
So about 10 minutes ago, Nettie said something, router something, I'll be back soon. She thinks that she'll still be able to join. I told her to just hop in as soon as she can. So hopefully we'll still see her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobilis in Q&A says Robin still looks like half a Joffrey.
Yeah.
The math's about right there, I think.
It's like his wolf in sheep's clothing kind of a thing. His sheep's clothing slipped a little more. He just looks inherently more twisted than Joffrey. I mean, Joffrey looked like a little angel. The perfect little blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel. He turned out to be a little shit like Chooch.
Damn, Chooch. Wow, I don't think Chooch deserved that one.
Well, he doesn't have a colorful tongue tonight.
You just lashed out like Sansa.
I did. No reason. I slapped his bitch face.
No. So also in Q&A, I don't remember what she was referring to when she originally posted it, but Viola said Wyman Manderley.
Well, he definitely would be a giant.
No, I think she posted that like a while back.
When we were talking about Orphan Black, I just assumed it was the name of the character on Orphan Black that he played.
No, Wyman Manderley's
he's a Game of Thrones character, although we haven't met him in the show. But he is a lord who's kind of best known amongst the populace for being really fat. Some people call him too fat to sit upon a horse.
Right. That's
something
right.
like that. Yeah. So, but actually, he becomes a pretty fun character once he eventually shows up, or at least in the books.
Dance and Dragons. Yeah. So hopefully we will get him at some point, which would be a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't imagine them not doing him.
You've got too much. Yeah.
I was just going to tell Viola, let us know what you wanted to say about him, because we clearly missed it.
I think we must have brushed too fast by whatever we were saying when you posted it.
I do have to say, the last scene. Well, before that though, we had the Peter kissing Sansa, getting what everybody knew what he wanted for a long time now, but he definitely surprised her.
All things considered, he was remarkably patient about it. He had plenty of opportunity before now that he could have tried it.
He's a patient man. We've learned this about him. He is patient. He will wait and wait and wait.
She seemed to be enjoying it for a while before pushing him away, which was
I wondered about that. I wondered because they did hold it for a little while, but then when she pulls away, she didn't act like, "Oh my gosh, that was great," but we shouldn't. It was more like, "What the hell?
What the fuck?"
I felt like it was maybe just the blocking. Like they had to hold it long enough for them to pull back a little and show us that Lysa was watching.
Yeah. I think
that's true.
I think sort of like the scene before with how she was reacting, that she's overwhelmed by certain things. So
this is her first kiss too.
Yeah.
It's her first kiss, and she was just grieving for her home and her family being lost, and Yeah, it's just all kinds of craziness in that scene. But I think they did. I think they did a good job of it because it does skip the epileptic seizure fits and all that kind of stuff. But I think we still see him frail enough for the way he's represented in the book because they're able to portray more visually.
Well, the other thing is too that I don't know about you guys, but I always got half the sense in the books that his seizures might not even necessarily be a significant medical condition so much as this kid is neurotic to the point of psychosis half the time, and they drug him the other half of the time.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
for all we know, the seizure is just something that he's doing to himself subconsciously whenever
he does a
gets upset.
tantrum. Yeah, just to have to stop the conversation and move on, kind of a thing. Take a nap.
Then we have the scene where discussion of more moon doors. Sansa thinks that she's there to give her a hard time about slapping Robin, but yeah, it's more about the kiss that she saw, and yeah, you get the feeling that Sansa's going over, and I'm sitting here with Kim, and she was very much worried for Sansa, and then Peter comes in, and it was very funny, just the situation as we're watching it. He's like, he says, I've only loved one woman in my life. And I was just like, and it ain't you crazy bitch. And then he says, your sister, and he pushes her, and Kim was like, I don't believe he did that.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say, I've only loved one woman, and then not said anything, and tried to fool her, and then they talked for a while, and he'd talk her off the ledge.
Nope.
Like, yeah, buddy.
Moon door's there for a reason.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, I thought they got away with speeding. They sped up that part of the book, like you're saying. There's more to it, but there really wasn't much reason to extend more scenes of seeing her be crazy and hurtful and build up towards that. It was,
and they skipped the mandolin player completely.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how they deal with the fallout. It's going to be a little bit different. But then again, I mean, when Sansa came in, and Lysa's just standing there staring down the open moon door, I mean, that's already, if Sansa was a little bit more astute, she would have said, I'll stay over here.
I'll stand over here.
I'm sure she was probably still thrown from the kiss, but she knows that she slapped Robin.
Yeah.
And the first thing Robin would do is run to Mommy. So, of course, the next thing to happen is Mommy goes to see what that little bitch did to her son, and Peter's kissing her at that moment. So it was like, how stupid could you be to do it right there, right then, when you know she'd be coming to find out why she did it. And it's one of those things that I always kind of, did he lure Lysa to the moon door kind of a thing,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was the first question that even reading the book stuff, it's like, did he kiss her knowing she was watching type thing? So that
I suppose that's possible, but at least to my mind, I feel like that is one of the rare times where Peter just basically finally said, okay, done with you now.
Yeah.
Off you go.
No charade.
Because it's kind of like, look, I have this whole plan, but you are not a mandatory component to it. It's going to be a little bit more trouble to deal with this without you, but you are making yourself enough trouble with you that I have decided it balances back the other way. So off you go.
And I don't think he's had a moment like that since Ned, where he's actually been able to pull a knife and say, "Fuck you, you're dying now."
Yeah.
He didn't kill Ned, obviously, but you know what I mean.
He's so in love with how smart he is that he gets so few opportunities to really gloat about it. And so the other thing is too, I thought was interesting is Sansa pushes him more for like, why did you really kill Joffrey? And he makes it all about, oh well, it was essentially revenge for Catelyn, which I thought was really great because A, probably at least partly true, but B, I think if anything it was only one factor, but him making that a big point, and not only a point that he acts like she had to pull out of him,
right.
was totally him starting to make his move on her.
Oh yeah, and that smile, she gave.
Yeah, and little did she know that smiling like that, he's like, "Oh, good, I'm good to go. Let's."
Right. The lights are waving me in.
Nobilis in the Q&A says, I actually wasn't sure who was going to go. I knew someone was going, but I really didn't know who.
Well, I mean, in fairness, did any PG Christiana, for myself, I actually had a moment of, I don't know who they're going to send through the moon door. They've thrown enough curveballs, but it was like, well, they can't kill, you know, it was like, would they, could they, would they, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Go ahead, Christiana.
In the rational hindsight, I don't think it was possible they would have made a change that big. But I agree that the way the scene played out, it was easy to find yourself just so caught up in the moment that you really feel that fear for Sansa, even if there's a part in the back of your mind that knows that's surely not what's going to happen. I thought they built the suspense beautifully.
I actually thought they might have changed. I thought they might have had Sansa push her off. Like the way they had sort of turned things and they were sitting by the door, I thought maybe,
she was going to snap.
She was, Lysa was going to do something with Baelish and like they were both going to be in danger or something, and Sansa gets in the middle of it and pushes her out or something like that. But
I could see that because she was still emotional, from the whole thing and the kiss and confused and fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, well, they've the way they've set it up, and we actually saw just a clip of this in the scenes from Next Time. There's the scene of her talking to presumably all the other Lords of the Vale, and saying, Lord Baelish has told a lot of lies, so I must tell the truth. But what we really know is she's got to be. It's her decision now. Like, who is she going to side with? She knows what really happened, but surely he would never get away with that if she told the truth.
And what happens to her?
So does she choose to protect him, given everything she knows about him? Because she also has to know that if she betrays him, it's probably not going to go great for her either.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does she do in that situation? He did just kill, pretty much, as far as she knows, her only remaining family.
Stay tuned for next week's episode to find out what happens to Sansa.
Well, I can actually right now tell you what's happening with our foreign correspondent, Nutty, who a minute ago just said, I can't get this working.
No.
So I suggested she email notes to you that we're just doing a general kind of a wow and repercussions kind of a thing, and she could send notes to you, PG. So she hasn't replied yet, so I don't know if she will or not. But
yes, she can.
But we're going to continue this discussion.
Show. Yes,
we're going to continue this discussion on Sunday.
Yes. So anybody that is watching or watches this between now and Sunday night, you can send an email to btw@specficmedia.com. We'll taking questions to do during the live show Sunday night. And if you're going to be at Balticon, our live show is on Sunday, 9 p.m.
Yep. Just think, guys, in 7 days exactly from now, we'll be in the bar going, woohoo!
4 days. Thursday night?
No, but exactly a week we'll
Sunday
have.
to Sunday.
Sunday to Sunday.
Nobilis points out that Robin is Sansa's cousin, but I don't blame you for forgetting him. So he is right, of course, and then, of course, I also did forget that technically Jon, too, is he's up at the wall, but technically he's still family. So there's...
And Bran, Rickon, and Arya are all presumed dead to the rest of the world.
Exactly. So, but yeah, he also pointed out earlier that Littlefinger is like the guy in charge of Skullcrusher Mountain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The Jonathan.
I hope that you've enjoyed your stay so far. You just need an assistant Scarface.
We did mention briefly Actually, that was before we started talking, but we had Melisandre and Selyse.
Oh, I didn't hear you guys
Quick
talking about
scene.
that.
That was before you guys got on. Just Christiana and I were yapping, but
Preach it.
so yeah, we got naked Melisandre, which is never a bad thing, and
consensual boobs.
I did like her. I mean, she can be honest and at times and just sort of make her point, and you're like, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
And, talking about the different potions and things on her shelf, and the whole idea of, you can fool people, you can lie, and as long as you get them to the truth, what's a little lie here and there? So, yeah. And,
well, yeah, that's, but so it's just fascinating that she would just go ahead and admit. It's kind of like, oh yeah, lots of the tricks you see with fire are just that. They're tricks. It's not really the Lord of Light doing anything. It is a lie, but nothing done in the name of the Lord of Light can be seen as a sin. Right. It's sort of whole thing. But the problem with that, taking that position, is it just sets you up to say, but where do the lies stop?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you're lying to them, but you're telling the truth to me.
Right. But here, look at these flames.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's.
And if you really believe, you'll see something.
Yeah. And if you weren't scared for Shireen before, looking into the flames and saying the Lord of Light needs her.
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm surprised
she. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm surprised she didn't simply put it to Selyse like, if we know your daughter is currently a heretic, who would train her not to be if we leave her here?
That's true.
I thought that was the argument she was going to make, but she didn't. It was way more sinister than that.
Yeah. Well, we know that Selyse will do anything for Lol, but I mean, it was interesting to see how it did still kind of crack her a little bit to see how hot Melisandre is, and having given permission, and then, like you said, telling herself it's not a sin, it's for the Lord of Light. But it just go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt what you were saying, but I got the sense more in this episode than really I ever had before, that I think Selyse, it's not that Selyse would do anything for the Lord of Light, it's that she would do anything for Melisandre. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I feel like if Melisandre said, here, look, this is the deal, I know, the Lord of Light, these are the usual rules, but we're going to do this other thing this time, I think she would go along with it. She wouldn't even question that.
Yeah.
And the way she was looking at Melisandre, I mean, there's some jealousy, but I wondered if there was something more too.
Yeah.
In the way she was looking.
There's like an embodiment of Lord of Light, like. Yeah,
maybe, but I definitely got the sense that it was really more. It's less the sincere religion, because I feel like she probably has never actually had like what a legit full real spiritual experience with this, other than just sort of the ritual of it probably, and so she's sort of envious of Melisandre for that, but I feel like she would do anything that Melisandre said, whether it made any sense with the previous versions of the Lord of Light's theology or not. That's the impression I got this time, anyway.
I'll have to look at that.
I mean, just the way that she always has reacted to the fact that she knows that Stannis and Melisandre are together, and she's just like completely into it as far as the idea that, well, this is what the Lord of Light wants. I'm so glad, that the Lord of Light has brought you to us, and you're part of what's going on. And I agree that she's whether it's love or just full belief, she would do anything that she says. So.
Well, the other thing there, just we ought to keep in mind is that, just given the nature of Selyse's personality, we can believe that even if she didn't really feel that way, she knows, well, I want to be a true believer, and this is what a true believer would say. And if she's feeling any real jealousy, she would basically be chastising herself for feeling that way and pretending that she didn't feel that way. So I don't know that we can rule out the idea that she actually does have some real jealousy there, and she's just trying to repress it because she knows that that's not what a true believer would feel like.
Well, the only other note that I had was just we mentioned Jamie and Tyrion scene, just how good it was, but the one bit where Tyrion is like, oh stop it, you were the golden son, you can do anything, you can fuck your own sister, and he's just like, careful,
yeah,
I'm the last friend you got. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Even though he keeps going there, he just don't go there.
I only had one note, and that was that that scene that we talked about with Arya and the Hound reminded me of Natalie Portman's character in the movie The Professional, where she's learning like the finer points of killing, so to speak, or whatever. The thing that the evolution that she goes through in The Professional is similar, I think, to what Arya's picking up from the Hound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. So any other comments or things you wanted to bring up there, Chooch?
Not I. It was great.
Trying to think of all the scenes. We had Jamie and Tyrion, we had Tyrion and Bronn, we had Tyrion and Oberyn, and we had Selyse and Melisandre. Pod and Brienne. Are we forgetting anybody? John at the wall.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I had that here and then I forgot about it. Yeah, so we had scene when they come back, and our friend Sir Alistair not having much sympathy or enjoyment. He's just like, get that damn animal in a cage, and then the council meeting or whatever they call that there, where they're talking about the impending attack, and John has a suggestion with the sheer number of people, plugging up the tunnel, and doing that would buy them time in any case, prevent them one way of getting through. So, but the builder, the leader of the builders, doesn't have the balls to agree with him. Although you could see that he pretty much did agree with him.
I thought they showed that really well. You can see the seeds of a lot of the other Night's Watchmen really starting to feel like, I know he's the one that our ostensible leader says is a traitor and half a wildling and doesn't know what he's talking about and just a steward, but he kind of seems like the only one around here who actually knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
I think they're showing that really well. I like that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, Nobila says, are we doing ratings tonight? We'll probably save ratings for Sunday, our Sunday show. But Nobilis's rating is 8 out of 10 needles through the heart, so which is a great rating.
Yeah.
And you stole one that maybe one of us might have used. But
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Maybe we should have people. Okay, hold them. We know they're funny. Hold them till we give ours, because you guys put so much thought into it. I'm always like,
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't have one yet, except the only one that I came up with is awful and horrible, and I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna because it's dark, and so everyone should just trust me that
it's dark.
I'm gonna draw the line on that one. That one's unnecessary.
Now I want to know what it is on Sunday at the live show.
We'll find out. Even if we don't find out at the live show, we'll find out after the live show.
I'm genuinely not trying to tease here. It was more really just kind of like, it's like, well, what could it be? It could be. Oh no, never mind. Never mind.
Understood.
Reverse. Beep beep beep. Yeah.
But that was I think all that happened at the wall. We had Sam grabbing John by the arm to make sure that he didn't get himself in trouble with Alistair.
Told him to lock up Ghost.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah.
I was surprised he didn't challenge him on that. Actually, I was expecting him to actually just go ahead and say neither of those. It's like he said, lock him up or I'll put him in the stew. And I thought John would say like neither of those things is going to happen. But I guess he still recognizes he cannot just openly defy Thorne's authority right now.
Right.
That's all that would do is get him locked up and probably Ghost killed.
Yeah, and I think he's unlike Danny. He at least understands that Ghost can do things if he's not supervised that may not fall into. He's not completely tamed. Whereas Danny has really no control over her dragons. It seems like.
Yeah.
So. So putting Ghost in somewhere safe is not such a bad idea. Responding to the stew comment wasn't very,
Yeah.
would have been in place, but well,
I could give a rating for just because it's like off the cuff right after the episode, and it's how I usually am right after. I give it like squee out of 10 stars. It's just I love it.
Okay.
A real rating will come when I have to rewatch it and take notes and stuff. I thought it was really well done though.
Yep. Very good. Okay,
Navilla says, I think Jon Snow is holding on to his political influence. And I think that's right. It's basically just like, at this point right now, his only concern is there is a huge army that is going to come and kill us and then overrun the countryside. We need to stop that from happening. Yeah. I don't want to lock Snow or Ghost up, but that's for me. That is small potatoes compared to what we're really dealing with. So need to not blow this up for something that's just for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Big picture.
Yep. So again, if you're going to Balticon, we will be doing our live show Sunday night at 9 p.m. Luckily, there is no Game of Thrones next week. We got a week off. They do that every year just for us.
Yeah.
Actually, they don't because we had Battle of Blackwater one.
Yeah, it's lined up for the first time this year, I think.
Yep. But yeah, we'll be there, and we'll get the we'll do audio at least of that. I don't think we'll be doing. Yeah, we won't be doing video for that, but we'll have an audio version of the live show out in the feed as soon as we can after we get back. So, our next our next hangout will be the Wednesday after the show on the 30th. So, so beginning of June. So we'll have a little break from our shows here. But thanks for stopping by. Our two viewers out there who were posting questions in the Q&A. Thank you very much. And again, anybody that wants to send in questions for our live show, please do. And we'll see you next time on Beyond the Wall. Bye, everybody.